China increases its retaliatory tariff on the U.S. to 125%. More on the Trump administration's response. Plus, measles cases have been popping up across states across the whole U.S. And now Arkansas is confirming its first 2 cases. The latest on how state health leaders are responding just ahead.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at Noon.
Well, thank you for joining us for your 5 News at Noon today. I'm Morgan Wrigley with Joshua Weisel here. And Joshua, you were just saying that there's not too much to worry about with the weather today. It's really nice outside too.
Yes, very thankful that I don't have to be the bearer of bad news. Come up here and tell you we've got something major to talk about. Nothing really today. Only some wind. So if you're headed out the door or if you've already been outside today, you may have noticed it is beautiful across the region. We've got some mild temperatures to start off with this morning. Clear skies, it is near perfect, but the reason it's not fully perfect, we have this north wind around 15 miles an hour. Some of those gusts could be close to 30 at times. We're not talking sustained throughout the day, but it is going to be breezy over the next several hours. Just a little bit faster in terms of those winds in the River Valley right now. 72 north wind around 20 miles an hour. So like I said, we are going to be dealing with some breezy winds throughout the day. Some gusts up to 30 miles an hour will be possible. As you can see, some areas still in the teens and 20s in terms of those winds. So it will be breezy. So if you're going to head out the door today, probably not the best because it's going to be a bad hair day with those winds. Certainly feeling it here in the studio. Walked in this morning and had to spray the hair extra. So keep that in mind. Bad hair day ahead. Well, we're going to be talking about some calmer weather over the next couple of days. Great weekend, in fact, but we are dealing with some rain chances potentially on the board for next week. More details on that here coming up.
Thanks, Joshua. Well, trade tensions with China escalated overnight with Beijing announcing a 125% tariff on U.S. goods. Wall Street seesawed between negative and positive territory in response. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
President Trump undergoes his annual physical today, but it's the future health of the economy that some analysts are worried about if the trade war between the world's 2 largest economies persists. Overnight, China announced it's raising tariffs on U.S. goods to 125%, while indicating if the U.S. keeps playing the tariff numbers game, China will ignore it. But the statement adds if the U.S. insists on continuing to substantially infringe on China's interests, China will resolutely counterattack and fight to the end. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer reacted on Fox News.
The Chinese reaction this morning is not terribly surprising, but certainly unfortunate.
This morning, reporters asked the U.S. Trade Representative whether the U.S. is engaged in talks with China, and he said not at this point. Small business owners like Sarah Wells are bracing for the impact. She designs bags and imports products from China.
China is the source of the raw materials for really the entire handbag industry.
But Matt Billings, whose metal manufacturing company sources its supplies from the U.S., has seen a huge boost in demand.
We went to 7 days a week. We've added multiple shifts. We have added more equipment.
While the Trump administration says one goal of the tariff strategy is to increase domestic manufacturing, experts say it could add significant costs for companies and take years. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Aside from China, the U.S. Trade Representative says talks are moving forward with other trading partners, including Israel, Vietnam, and Taiwan. Well, in continuing coverage, we are learning Arkansas state lawmakers will not vote again on that $750 million appropriations bill to support construction of a 3,000-bed prison in Franklin County. Senate President Bart Hester from Cave Springs tells 5 News he does not plan to call a vote again on the prison funding unless he has 27 members ask him to. The bill has failed in the Senate 5 times after concerns over the prison project's price tag. People in Franklin County have also strongly opposed the project, claiming the governor's office and the Board of Corrections never talked to them about it before it was announced last October.
Every time it failed, it was another time that the people have said, no, we don't want this project to move forward in its current iteration. Whether you support a prison, whether you don't, that's a debate for a different day. But this project, the way that it stands now and the way that they've tried to bring it about, is not right for Arkansas.
Hester says he does not anticipate a special session to be called over this. The governor's office sent us this statement saying the governor continues to stand with those in support of addressing the state's prison bed shortage and keeping dangerous criminals out of communities. Meanwhile, a new version of a bill that would change rules on large animal farms in the Buffalo River watershed has passed a House committee. The legislation sparked a heated debate, with some proponents arguing it would help support farmers, while opponents fear it could harm the water quality of the iconic river. On Thursday, the bill's lead sponsor came to an agreement with the governor's office that would protect existing moratoriums. The bill has been returned to the House with a recommendation that it passes as amended. And a Logan County murder suspect captured in Texas. 29-year-old Michael Dush is accused in the crossbow killing of an 84-year-old man in Logan County. He's also facing murder charges in Georgia. Last month, a family member found 84-year-old William Harris dead inside his home near Delaware in Logan County. Investigators say Harris was killed with a crossbow. They believe he'd been dead for about a week. Police in Texas were able to spot Dush and arrest him after finding him in a stolen RV. Police say they also found documents linked to both murder victims and a crossbow inside the RV. Dush was extradited to Georgia to face murder charges, and he's expected to be charged in Arkansas as well.
I see a lot of kids here every day, and I take a lot of really good care of my families, and they're really important to me. And this is something that, while we knew it was coming, is still really hard to prepare for.
Members of the medical community have been watching the measles cases in Texas rise. Now, 2 cases have been confirmed in Arkansas, one in Saline County, the other in Faulkner County. The ADH says both cases involve pediatric patients who were unvaccinated and tested positive after traveling out of the state. But the health department says no exposures have been identified at daycares or at schools. And measles cases are also happening in other states around the U.S. Oklahoma has seen at least 8 cases. The state health department says measles exposures were confirmed in Tulsa and Rogers counties. Now, Texas is reporting the most cases with over 500, including 2 young children who were not vaccinated and died from measles-related illness. And earlier this week, Hawaii confirmed the first case of measles in the state this year.
And the best way to prevent an outbreak has already been said, and we'll reiterate a few times, is to have a high community vaccination rate.
You know what I've always said during my campaign and every public statement I've made, I'm not going to take people's vaccines away from them. Right. What I'm going to do is make sure that we have good science so that people can make an informed choice.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has expressed support for the measles vaccine. However, he says the government should not mandate it. High school athletes are facing new regulations if they're looking to transfer schools. A new law signed by Governor Sanders requires students transferring schools after June 1st before their sophomore year to sit out of varsity athletics for a full year. The law creates uniform standards for homeschooled, as well as public, private, and charter school students. Backers of the new law say the number of transfers they were seeing was an unintended consequence of the state's school choice policy.
It paints a broad picture for every school, no matter what their affiliation is, as far as public, non-public, charter school, etc. Everyone has the same set of rules. We've seen what the transfer portal has done to college athletics. We've all seen the effect that the transfer portal has at the NCAA level. And the last thing we need is the transfer portal in high school sports in Arkansas.
The Arkansas Athletics Association says there are certain hardship exceptions that allow students to transfer schools without having to sit out, but those will all be reviewed on a case-by-case basis, and that will not be the norm. Well, we're learning more about the tragic Tor helicopter crash that happened in the Hudson River near New Jersey. 6 people, the pilot and a family of tourists, died on Thursday. Witnesses say they saw the tourist chopper break apart mid-air just seconds before the crash.
The propeller just exploded and scattered, right? And then after that, we saw the plane was just spiraling down.
According to the NYPD, flight tracking data shows the Bell 206 aircraft was being used by the tour company New York Helicopter. It took off from downtown Manhattan just before 3 p.m. and was in the air for less than 20 minutes. The head of New York Helicopter says they leased the chopper from a company based in Louisiana. He declined to discuss its inspection record. CBS News New York has learned the victims were Agustin Escobar, an executive at technology company Siemens, his wife, and their 3 children, visiting the U.S. from Spain. The National Transportation Safety Board and FAA are now investigating this. When it comes to school safety, you might see some changes in Springdale next year. All 4 Springdale middle schools and Rollins Elementary School in Taneytown will transition from school resource officers to commissioned school safety officers. The district says they already have CSSOs at 18 elementary campuses across the district. School resource officers are sworn law enforcement, while CSSOs are school district employees. But the district says their mission is the same: to confront threats in school buildings with lethal force if necessary. The change is expected to go into effect next school year. In Arkansas, state police are focusing on safety by cracking down on drivers who are texting or talking on their phones. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says there were a little more than 3,300 people killed and nearly 290,000 injured in crashes involving distracted drivers in 2022. The Put the Phone Away or Pay campaign has troopers on high alert trying to lower those numbers.
If you've got a passenger, hand that phone to your passenger. Let them read the text. Let them respond to the text. If you're just unable to not look at that text message, pull over to a safe location where you can get off the road, read the text, respond, and then get back on the road.
If you're caught, you could be fined anywhere from $25 to $250 for your first offense. After that, it jumps to as much as $500.